What's good, gun family? Urban Gun Reviews, and today on this episode of Friends with Guns, you got my man's MINES220. Appreciate you coming on the platform.
Of course, of course.
Yeah. So if y'all into, I'm gonna tell y'all how I ran across this brother. Right, I was on YouTube. I'm trying to get a staccato. I'm running a staccato fund up right now. So I was on YouTube looking up staccato videos, and it's crazy because I was watching all these staccato videos for like a couple months now, and then all of a sudden your video popped up, and it was
Oh,
like,
nice.
"Are staccatos really Ferraris?" And I was like, "Yo, this is crazy." I was like, "Let me check it out." You know what I mean? And I hands down the best staccato video I've seen on the net to this day.
Thank
So I
you.
was like, I got to
Thank
get
you.
this dude on the platform. Got to put him out there, as much as I can. Let everybody check him out and check you out, bro. So, like I said, I appreciate you coming on and giving you your flowers
Thank
while
you.
we're here. Yeah,
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
anytime. So, if y'all got a chance, y'all get a chance, make sure you go check out his YouTube, subscribe to his channel, check out his content. Great, crazy staccato video, man. Like I've never seen anybody break down a gun the way that you did it and explain it, and like it's like you knew every intricate part, like you took it apart yourself and put it all back together like you worked for staccato. Like it was the craziest thing.
All
Beautiful.
right.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So the first question we ask everybody when we on here is, where you from?
I live in a city in Southern California called Riverside. I'm probably like about 30, 40 miles from Los Angeles.
Okay. So born and raised.
Yep, yep.
Okay. Give me some insight on what it's like growing up in Cali.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. The traffic's crazy. There's a lot of people everywhere. But I'm sure it's like anywhere else. I got family everywhere. My dad's from Virginia. My mom grew up out here because my grandfather was in the military. So we had a lot of military families around us out here. And that's ultimately my grandparents are from Arkansas. So that's how we settled down here in Southern California when grandpa retired. So
Okay.
it's dope.
Yeah, that's what's up. So, what got you into firearms?
We were talking about this for a little bit, but I grew up in the neighborhood, and my mom was like, "No, there's no guns." We had drive-by sometimes, and mom taught us as little kids, hey, you guys got to get down. So, mom was always like deathly afraid of them.
Yeah.
But again, dad grew up in the South, so dad grew up with like guys driving around with shotguns in the truck. It was normal to go in the backyard out to the creek and shoot the frogs. So there was kind of like this tension between them. I'm like, do we give the kids guns? Do we not? And mom always won that battle. So
Yeah.
eventually I became a police officer when I was 20. And that's where I started learning more about guns. And once I kind of realized like they're not dangerous. The,
Mm,
the people that are handling them are the ones that are causing the problems.
exactly.
That's where we just kind of it ramped up from there because we went from dad having one gun and me having my duty gun to I was mentioning earlier, my mom's got like 9 pistols, 3 rifles. Just it's everywhere. We show up at the
Yeah.
family party. Everyone has safes. It was like, hey, everyone, where's your guns go? Where's everybody's guns at? So it's dope.
That's what's up. What do you carry for duty, if you don't mind saying?
We carry Smith and Wesson M&Ps,
Okay.
and it's a 1.0. It's an old purchase,
Yeah.
but it's pretty dope. I modify the trigger. I modify everything I get, man. So
Yeah.
I'm like, if I get in trouble, they wouldn't even know what I did to it. So, you know what I mean? They don't know
That's
what to look for.
how long you been a police officer?
14 years now.
Okay.
Yeah, 14 years.
That's what's up. So, what's some perks about the job? I ain't gonna ask you disadvantages. I don't want to get you in any sticky situations. But what's some perks about being a police officer in Los
Uh,
Angeles or in California?
you know what? Yeah, I started in LA, and then I'm out where I'm at now, out in the Riverside area. But I just like to help people, man. And to me, I'm real big in law enforcement,
Hmm.
working in their communities. You know what I
Okay.
mean? And one thing I tell everybody is like, look, if I pull someone over that I might see at the grocery store tomorrow, I'm gonna have a whole different perspective on how I police the community.
Yeah.
And so, being around the people that I grew up around, being around my neighbors, it's a big deal. I like it, so I really feel like I'm giving back to the community.
That's dope. And a lot of people always say that, like, it'd be different if you police the community that you live in, you know, because then you get a feel for the people, like you know who you're dealing with, and you know, like you said, you might run into that person at the grocery store and everything. So it definitely, I feel, makes a difference. So that's dope that you know you police the community that you live in and you see people in.
Right, yeah. Because everyone's gonna hold you accountable for sure too.
Yeah,
You can't be out there being reckless and then you drive 30, 40 miles away to where you think no one's gonna find you.
yeah, definitely. So I'm gonna just bring this up real quick. Then being that we in it, what's your thoughts on the Illinois what do they call it, the little non arrest thing that they doing right now?
Oh, right. They're not gonna. It's kind of like a citation type thing,
Yeah,
or like
non
robbery,
detainable
etc.
offenses act.
Right.
Yeah, what's your
That's
thoughts on
crazy,
that?
man. I can't believe it. I'm still in disbelief about it. It's crazy. We write that line here in California. California is pretty liberal.
Yeah,
And it's been that way since I've been a police officer since before that. So we write that line where they're kind of like let everybody go, and
mm,
then they keep committing the same crime over and over again until something bad happens. But that's crazy. I mean, I couldn't believe that they did that. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I don't know, man. I couldn't even make that up. A couple of my boys sent it to me earlier this week, and I was just like, nah, I'll believe it when I see it.
Right, yeah, I think that's everybody's initial thought. That was mine. I'm like, yo, this can't be real. Like
Right,
people calling like the Illinois purge or Chicago purge, and you know, you get to looking
right.
into it, and I'm like, yo, this is real. Like they
Yeah,
really doing this.
yeah, they're tripping out there, man. That's crazy. And they got a big problem with guns already, just or people acting a fool with
Yeah,
guns.
yep,
You know what I'm saying? And it's not just even coming from Illinois. It's coming. They're going out, getting them everywhere else, coming back in,
yep,
and just acting a fool, man.
craziness. So, before you became a police officer, did you carry firearms?
No, not at all. No.
No. All right. So the first firearm you got was your duty pistol.
Yeah. That
Okay.
was the first time I shot. Yeah,
Yeah.
in the academy. Yeah.
That's what's up. Was there any main reason besides you wanted to like help out the community that you wanted to be a police officer?
You know what? When I was like 4 years old, my mom's best friend's house got robbed, and we had to go over to the house with the cops. Like she went to look at the house, and she came to mom's house, and we went back all together.
Mm-hmm.
And the police officer showed up. Like he was suited and booted, man. His uniform was sharp. He had a
Yeah.
gun. I was like, hey, mom, he's got a gun. Like that guy looks cool.
Yeah.
And so, I've had my negative run-ins with some police officers too, growing up,
Mm-hmm.
but I just always understood, like, look, that's the kind of job that not everyone will be willing to do. Not everyone will be willing to step up, and I kind of looked up to that ever since I was a young kid. And my older brother ended up going to prison, getting in trouble with gangs and stuff, and it just really took me away from that side of the street, if I should
Yeah.
say. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. So I know California got some of the strictest gun laws in the country. Is it possible to acquire a license to carry in California?
It is. You got counties out here that go hard for making sure that people get their we call them CCWs out here.
Okay.
And so in our county here, which is Riverside County, the newest sheriff, he's been going really hard to make sure he gives people their CCWs. I want to say I might. It's an approximation of numbers, but they went from like 2,000 CCWs a year to like 20,000 CCWs a
Oh,
year, or
okay.
something
Okay.
crazy.
Okay. So is it damn, I forgot what I was about to ask you. It was right on the tip of my tongue. I forgot it. Any type of like specific training that you have?
Oh man, geez, like CQB instructor stuff, VCQB instructor, Will Petty over centrifuge, two lamb. I try to do as much training as possible,
Mm-hmm.
on the range and on the bench. So, like I'm a Smith and Wesson at M&P 1.0, 2.0 armor, Colt armor for their SMGs, for AR-15s, Sig Sauer armor stuff. A lot of stuff I learned when I had my FFL and just working on guns is kind of understanding how the systems work.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I do a lot of training. So I went back east of Maryland. My last training went back east of Maryland and took a class at School of American Rifle and going over the 5.56 223 platform on the AR.
Okay. So for those out there who don't know what an armor is, can you explain that?
In the simplest terms, it's like learning how to take it apart and put it back together. That's pretty much it of a gun or a system, right? And then when you do like specific classes, sometimes like the Smith and Wesson class is like a law enforcement only class, right, or military, and they're really just kind of explaining to you like, all right, this is a system, this is this part, because they kind of go way down in the basics. And sometimes in there you have people that go those armor classes that don't really know much about what's what, like what's an extractor or what's an ejector and so forth.
Okay. So how long have you been an armor?
Man, probably since like I probably took one of my first courses like back in 2014. So, but I always take everything to the max, man. Like I'm up till like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning reading my 1911 books, man. I have this book that I bought. My wife got it for me. It was $350 for AR-15 just in the cartridge.
Yeah,
and it's hundreds of pages just on some of the original people that went to testing the AR-15 when it came out, when Armalite got it over to the Air Force initially that picked up the contract. And it's just about everything they tried, from aluminum cases to plastic cases to what issues they were having with the casings to begin with, and the Army wanting to get back in, and ballistics at 300-400 yards, crazy stuff. So I like to geek out in that, man. I've always been like that since I was a kid.
That's what's up. So what made you want to create content?
I think it's information, man. A lot of it too, especially when it comes to guns, especially like staccatos. The whole reason why I started my FFL to begin with was when I first got into guns, I noticed that when I would go to a gun store, the guns that the guys would carry that worked there were never the same guns that they would sell.
Okay.
So I ended up hitting the guy up on that, like, hey, what gun are you carrying? Like, what do you have? Because I want what you have. If you're willing to defend yourself with that gun, that's what I want to buy. But where's it at? Where's it at in the store?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, well, we don't carry this. So why not? Oh, it's too expensive. Like, well, I'll save up my money, man. I want to buy it. Why would I buy something else? You know what I'm saying? So, that's kind of where that started. And then I kind of was just like, you know what, man, I'm gonna get my own store, because it was just like a lot of gun stores are just kind of funneling you into a cheaper gun to make money. Yeah. Like, hey, here's what we recommend. Save your money up and buy it.
So, do you still currently have your FFL?
No, I got rid of it, man. It was too much, man. It was too much. It was a lot of work. California makes us do a ridiculous amount of paperwork. The Department of Justice is now. I've kind of gotten back and forth online with some people about the ATF before. I mean, we do see the pistol brace stuff that they're kind of bringing that up now, but from my experience at ATF, like, they were the ones that were like, hey, this is what you need to do and this is how you do it. So like the other, gun shops, other gun people, they weren't trying to help me at all. So that's kind of what got my foot in the door, was the ATF, and they've always been super cool, super informative, And from my experience, it's like, look, if you got a gun, you can have a bazooka if you want, as long as it has a serial number and they know you own it. They don't care what you do with it. You know what I'm saying? But I think getting all this information out is just like I like cameras. I like doing photography and stuff. And I kind of got into photography for taking pictures of my guns for the shop.
Okay.
And that's what really motivated the content creation and just giving that information. Like, you hear a lot of people kind of giving stuff, especially on staccatos, where they're like, oh, this and that and this. And you're like, oh, you're missing this though, man. Like, oh, you're missing this though. Like, when you really dig into how they built this gun at this price point, it's crazy, man. The price point is insane.
Yeah. You had brought up about serial numbers on guns, and I had just watched a little short like documentary, I think about 60 minutes, about ghost guns, and they were talking about it in like California, and they said it's like a real big deal in California. Like, they're coming up a lot with a lot of ghost guns and stuff. So as a police officer, do you run across a lot of ghost guns?
All the time. It's probably about 95% of what we get now. Always.
Yeah.
always. It's, P80s all the time. My partner was actually on the news. It was a little nationwide thing. One of the young guys that came into my office he got killed from a guy with he had a ghost gun. He was a
Yeah.
felon and he shouldn't have had it, but he had an AR that was built and he ambushed him and killed him with it.
Man.
So it happens all the time. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, what's your thoughts on ghost guns? You think that they should be legal, or you think they should be banned?
That's a tough one, man, because you know I know people with like you know, federally it's okay to build a gun in your house,
Yeah.
right? And especially here in California, where you kind of go sideways is what the Department of Justice, like, you federally I can build a gun at home, but once I take it outside, I'm against California now. You
Yeah.
know what I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
saying? And just understanding that it's not the gun that's the problem, it's the people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's
Absolutely.
always that argument of like, hey, look, man, I should be able to build a gun if I want to.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? um, from the standpoint of like my shop and business wise, I've always stayed away from them.
Yeah.
Because I mean, for the years I started my shop back in 2014,
Mm.
and you know, you can already see the writing on the wall that the powers that be, like the ATF and Department of Justice, didn't like them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I've always just been like, look, man, you can get a lower for $75 at serialized, and you're not gonna have any issues. So
Yeah.
I've just kind of always stayed along that line with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and the documentary that I watched, it was like a shop in California, and the guy he sold like kits and stuff like that, and I think it was like a sheriff or something out there, somebody from the ATF, and
Mhm.
they were saying like the only people there's like people who do guns legally and want to do this legally don't buy, P80 kits, and they don't do this stuff. And I'm like, I don't think that's true. Like, there's true gun enthusiasts who just want to do this type of stuff. And I was like,
Right,
it's like with anything, you're gonna have bad people. Like, you're gonna
right,
have
right,
people who
right,
use good things or tools in a bad way, so
right,
you can't. I don't think that it's right that good people are penalized and really frowned upon and looked at as being criminalized for doing things that they should be able to do just because
right,
bad people use these things. So
right, right,
I
right,
know it's a fine line, but it's just it's all dependent on the person. You can't really blame a tool. That's like a
right,
car, like a vehicle. A
right.
car salesman doesn't say, hey, you're not going to go drink and drive, with
Hmm.
this vehicle. You sell somebody a car. So it's no
Right,
different than selling
right.
somebody a gun. They can use it in a bad way, but it's really up to that individual. So
Right, right, and I feel you, man. We should be able to make them, and I love building them. So one of the first guns that I had that was unserialized was the Stealth Arms 1911 frame,
okay.
and it was dope, man. But you know, what I mean, like, you're right. It doesn't come down to the gun. If I can put my own markings on it and be like, look, this is my gun, like, that should be fine. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah, I agree.
So how did you come up with your YouTube channel name?
You know what? When I was a kid, I used to like the little Japanese racing cars,
Okay.
and there's a company in Japan called Mines, and they had a Skyline. I used to like the Skyline,
Mm-hmm.
and they had a BNR 34, and that I just kind of picked it up. My football numbers have always been 2, so you know what
Okay.
I mean. I kind of picked a random number for it, and really it was just to kind of surf the internet. But now I'm so deep in all my stuff, the older I got, and I'm like, I'm not gonna change the name. I just kind of
Yeah.
left it, you know what I'm saying? So
That's what's up. That's what's up.
yeah.
How long have you done YouTube?
Let me see. I think I want to say that staccato video was my second, or maybe my third. So I was just kind of messing around with my camera one day, and I have a video when I put my Triarch rifle together.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Second video was actually on the Triarch,
Mm-hmm.
and that's kind of comes into the content too. I couldn't find any information on it.
Yeah.
So a lot of the videos I would see, they didn't have a lot of the technical stuff I was looking for.
Yep.
So I made that, and then when I saw everything on the staccato, like you go on Facebook and on Instagram, and everyone's saying this and saying that, I'm like, no, yeah, I'm gonna put a little video together real quick. So
Yeah. So does that kind of motivate you to be the gun tubers, because like you are like so advanced when it comes, because you're like an armor and stuff like that. So being so advanced, does that kind of motivate you to do content somewhat, because nobody really breaks down a video and breaks down a firearm, like I said, and that I've seen the way that you did it. So is that kind of a motivation to you?
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. Like I feel like I owe it to people. Like there's been a couple of I have a friend that works for Colt. He's a good friend of mine, and he's always willing. He has a little shop that he built in his backyard, and he's always like, Johnny, come over, man, and I'm gonna teach you everything you need to know. Or if you
Yeah.
have questions, we're gonna run through it. So I feel like I have to be able to give that back to a lot of people as well. For how many people have gotten into guns, especially with all the political stuff going on and with all the craziness going on, like I feel like the more information people have, like the more comfortable they become, and the more that we get to share as a gun community.
Okay. That's dope. What do you carry as EDC? Do you carry the same, like your duty pistol off duty as well?
Nah, 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 man, that's a clunker. I'm good. That's what I train with. That's what I train with for sure. Like I train, like I'll shoot that all day, 40, 50, 60 yards,
Yeah.
and I'm very comfortable with it. But I carried my Staccato. I recently bought a SIG. I bought the 6-hour RXP, and I
Okay.
put a Trijicon RMR on it. That's what I've been carrying a lot lately.
Hmm.
It's a 320, and they're cool. I like them. I like the 320s. They're not bad.
Yeah.
Um, I just kind of like, you know what, man? With my Staccato, I had a good friend who really wanted one, and in California we have a list. Like there's a list of approved guns where if you're not a police officer or
Yeah.
in the military, you can't buy them.
Okay.
And so I gave him mine so that he could have one, because I was like, look, I can always buy another one. Like he can't. So I gave him mine, and so I just carry my 6-hour right now, but.
You gave me your staccato?
Um, yeah.
There.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what's up.
yeah,
That's crazy
yeah,
right there.
yeah, yeah. I love guns, man. And if you love guns, like we're on the same page. So
Yeah.
I that list that they have that limits us from buying guns is crazy, man. So it was just like, it's cool, man. I get another one, but
Yeah.
I want to pick up a C2, and then if I had a C2, I would carry that every day.
Okay. So what you mean is like the California compliance, like that?
They have something called it's a roster of firearms. So what they had is, like, let's say Glock has a Glock 19, and they have like three different models of it, right?
Yeah.
Glock would have to fill out an application to send for it to sell in California. And then they would have to send each model that were on the applications to some labs. One lab's like in Kentucky and one's in like Missouri. They test them for drop testing to make sure that they don't fire. The firing pin's not going to fall if it's dropped, et cetera, et cetera. And
Uh-huh.
then as long as they do that, it was cool. But California got kind of crazy because they were charging manufacturers for every gun. And for every gun had to have a specific serial number.
Yeah.
And then when they came out with the micro stamping stuff and the firing pin, they were like, all right, every gun has to have micro stamping, and none of the manufacturers have it. So
Yeah.
to sell a new gun like a Gen 4 Glock or a Gen 5 Glock, you got to have micro stamping on the firing pin, which no one has. So the quote unquote civilians can't buy any new guns because
Yeah.
of that.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
Do you have any so-called shit hit the fans guns?
I'm always building. I've been building a lot lately. My dad was in the Marine Corps. My dad was Force Recon, and we have a national, one of the national cemeteries here in Riverside, and he's a part of their honor guard. And so they had an armor that was building the Garans from fixing them, but he was an old dude. He left, so I've been working on those. That's it. But I got a bunch of old guns in the safe right now. I got a carbine in there, like a Chinese Mauser in there, some AKs that I built. Then my trusty dusty Triarch, man. That's my gun, man.
Yeah.
That it's a nail driver. So I feel like, I got my SIGs. My wife has a SIG as well, and we kind of just have our setup. I don't know, man. I to me, like the more I train, the more I realize like guns are tools. Like you give me a pistol, I feel like I'm be pretty proficient with it.
Yeah. So kind of take us through the process of like you want to get a new gun, like what do you really look for as into getting that gun? Is like practicality, or what really goes into your process in buying a new firearm?
You know what it is now, man. It's capacity.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
like, look, if I can get like 17 rounds, all my guns have been 9mm lately,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know, man. If it's cool, I like that new Springfield, that Prodigy. That's
The
pretty
Prodigy.
hard.
Yeah.
I love 1911s, man, and I like that, and the fact that it's double stack is
Yeah.
super dope. So for me, I don't really have a I don't. There's like no method to the madness. If I used to have maybe like 20 guns, like 20 handguns in the safe, like
Mm-hmm.
6 rifles, man, and at range days got crazy.
Yeah.
So and then especially when I got into training, I had all these guns and all these calibers. So I really just narrowed it down to like, look, I have my two or three pistols, I got my 2 rifles, I got a shotgun, and that's it.
Okay. Okay. When you go training, you take the wife with you?
Yeah, she's got stuck with me. I actually had some training with Frank Proctor up in Hollis. There's a little city up north called Hollister,
Okay.
up by the bay, and like by Oakland and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And she got stuck because we were like off in some hills and she got lost. So she had it. So they were giving me a hard time. Like, damn, man, you made your wife come out here. That's messed up, man. But she was cool. She just hung out the whole time with us, and she watched us shoot. She likes it. She likes to shoot from time to time.
Yeah.
And she's real girly though, so she'd rather be like, "Oh, I'm gonna sit and do my nails."
Yeah.
So.
I was just like when I first got into guns, my wife wasn't really into it. She wasn't against it or anything, but she just wasn't into it. Like I was going full throttle on it. Like yeah, I'm gonna shoot as often as I can. And now she's kind of like that. Like every time I go to the range, like she's with me, So I heard this one time somebody had said like you're only as strong as like the weakest person in your house. So I'm
Right,
like, what's the point of me being trained and know how to handle guns if I'm not there? And I got all these guns in the house and nobody knows how to use them. So
right,
I kind of
right,
made it
right,
a thing to train everybody in the house. My sons get trained, my wife get trained, so they can all, hold it down somewhat, if I'm not here. Or if I,
right.
get shot, never know what happens. Somebody break in, I might go down. They got to be able to, defend themselves. So
Yeah, yeah, I'm right there with you, man. My boy, my brothers, everybody knows how to shoot. So I'm like, look, this is what I'm carrying. This is where it's at. If something happens to me, you guys already know what to do.
yeah,
So, what I mean? It's right there. My son's got a little Ruger American 22, and he's obsessed with the military and World War II history. So he's
okay.
always like, he's out there at the range, like, look, Dad, bah, 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 bah. And I'm like, hey, you gotta chill out, man. You gotta chill out, bro. One day we were at the grocery store and he's like, Dad, the Russians are coming. I'm like, bro, you gotta chill, bro. You gotta chill. I know you like history, bro, but we can't be saying stuff like that in public,
Yeah,
man.
that's what's up. That's what's up. What's your thoughts on carry guns with safeties, with manual safeties?
You know what? I was opposed to it, man, for a long time, especially being a police officer. When I came in, like a lot of older guys that trained and have been doing it for a long time were like, don't get a safety, don't have a safety on your gun.
Yeah.
And when actually when I went to my VCQB instructor class with Will Petty through Centrifuge, a couple of guys had some 2011s with safeties on them, and they were running them like everybody else.
Yeah.
So that was where I got a chance to see like, oh, it's not that big of a deal, you know what I
Mm.
mean? And when I picked up my Staccato, man, I carried it every day. So it really isn't, I mean, the safety, the ambi safety they got in there is real nice. It's just
Mm.
easy to deactivate and activate. So on your draw stroke, you're deactivating it, and once you're on target, you're ready to go.
Yeah. Now, I heard you say you're a fan of the 1911. What made you go with staccato?
I've always liked STI. In with my experience with STI, with people coming into the shop, trying to tune like STI mags back in the day, it was a little bit of a headache, but I've always liked it.
Mm-hmm.
I love the innovation and the fact that they were making these polymer grips, and I was like, that's pretty dope. Like, I like the fact that you can change it out.
Yeah.
It was just something different and new. Versus a manufacturer that was just kind of just copying the playbook and copying Browning's paperwork. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that was dope. So I've just always liked them, but I was just like, I'm not paying. I didn't want to pay 4 or 5 grand for a race gun. I've always wanted like a defensive style pistol. So
Uh,
as soon as I saw the Staccato, I was like, I gotta have one. I
yeah.
gotta have it. So I went and picked it up.
Okay. Did you buy one like locally, or you ordered it online or something?
I actually bought it from them direct. So
Okay.
I called them and from the shop, like, from having my business, I try to do, if I can do direct business with that business, I try to
Hmm.
do that. And so that was kind of dope. I could just call and order it through their hero program.
Okay. Okay. What's your thoughts on keeping a round in the chamber at all times?
Always.
Now, was that something that you had to build up to, or like straight out the gate you was rounding the chamber?
Yeah, it was cold turkey. I was
Yeah.
nervous, man, because I've always carried appendix, and I was nervous, but you know what I mean? It's that's the only way I carry. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
What made you buy your first firearm that you ended up going with?
Me and my boy ran into it in custody out. We had this in custody that was crazy, and he was like, "I'm gonna find you guys and kill you guys,"
Mm,
and we ran into him in the mall one day, and I was just like, "Damn!" Like, this is why everyone says you gotta carry, you know what I mean,
yeah.
especially off duty. So I was just like, I gotta go get something.
Okay. You ever had any issues with anybody that you might have, arrested or something like that, like while you were off duty, that you can
Uh,
speak
you,
on?
you know what? That guy didn't recognize me, but usually the people that do,
Hmm.
it's always been all good. Like I have a lot of respect for people, and
Yeah.
and I just do my job as I need to. So usually people are like, "Hey, thank you, I appreciate you,"
Yeah.
and that was I usually have pretty positive contacts with people for the most part.
Okay. Would you consider yourself a movie guy? And if so, in your opinion, what's the best gun movie you ever seen?
I guess I like to watch movies. Yeah, damn. Which one? If I had to pick one, what I've been watching with my son lately is the Predator. So
Okay.
that's super dope. They got the MP5s like Carl Weathers in there. So
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
trying to school him up on it. And I would have to say, if I had to pick one right now, off the top of my head, I would definitely say Predator. Scarface is always dope. Training
Definitely.
Day is always
Definitely.
one of my favorite. Just thinking of something on top of my head that has a lot of guns in it all the time. So,
Yeah.
and then my mom and growing up, I've always been a huge fan of Tombstone. So when they're working
Okay.
those single
Okay.
action revolvers, is that's super dope.
Yeah. Some solid picks there. Solid picks.
Yeah.
If you stop YouTube or stop doing content today, what would you want to be remembered for?
As a good dad, man, I love my kids, and as a good husband for just my family. That's the most important thing. Like I don't mind sharing guns and sharing knowledge, and we owe it to each other as gun people, but as a husband and a father, that's the most important thing in this entire world to me.
Yeah. That's dope. How often would you say that you clean your carry gun?
Damn. I'd probably be embarrassed I had to pull it out, man. I clean it when I see that it's dirty. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, because I'll go to the range and shoot. Like, I might have 3 or 4 or 5 range days before I actually sit down and clean it.
Yeah.
Um, but with my pistols, I try to clean those every time I shoot.
Mhm.
Rifles, that's like intermittent cleaning. So I don't clean those all the time.
Okay. As a police officer, do you get a lot of like range time, or is it not as much as people probably think it is?
It's not as much as at all. I want to say like probably the last 6 months of last year, I probably went to the range like twice, maybe
Okay.
at work. And so that's where a lot of this motivation came from too, is like, look, if I'm carrying a gun, I got to be responsible with it. I got to know how to use it. I got to be comfortable and confident. Because when I was a new officer, man, I wasn't confident.
Yeah.
We're out on stops, and we're pulling people out of cars, and we're running up on houses with guns. And I was like, damn, man, I wasn't 100% sure that if I lined up my sights, I was gonna hit my target. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And that bothered me. So it was just like it just got to the point where it's like I if I'm gonna pull this thing out, I need to know and be confident on how to use this thing.
So
So
what built you your confidence up?
just training, man. You know what and this is part of the content creation too, is I took my camera out and I started recording myself.
Okay.
And they'd be like, all right, let me count my rounds. So I kind of made this little system of like, all right, I could tell the camera like, all right, this is my first mag. I'm gonna shoot 5 rounds, and then I would take my camera up and then look at the rounds, so then I
Okay.
could come back and evaluate it
Mm-hmm.
to be like, all right, this is what I did here, or I was flinching here, I was anticipating here, or you can see like I'm tightening my strong hand here. I have no good grip on my support hand. Like that's why I started throwing my rounds left. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because I'm right-handed, and that was huge improvement.
Mm-hmm.
And then that gave me a lot of confidence. 'Cause I didn't have a lot of confidence to go to training at first. So I can't show up as a cop and suck, man. I'm like, everyone's gonna laugh at me, man. So
Yeah. Um, what's the best gun you feel like you've ever shot, handgun wise?
man, I shot a Nighthawk, which was dope. A Wilson Combat. I would say like the Nighthawk, Wilson, and my Staccato. Those are my favorite all day. I have a Caspian frame. I have a Caspian double stack 1911 that I'm still building. I've been building on it here and there, and I'm excited to shoot that. But any 1911, man, I love it.
Okay.
Can't complain.
What do you feel like the worst gun is you ever shot?
Um, Damn, I don't know. I can't even say like I sold a high point in the shop one time, and it was kind of like as a joke. It was a
Yeah.
joke, but that I never even shot it, and I hated it. I was like, "This is stupid."
It's an ugly gun. Just
It is, man. It
ugly.
is. The guy that bought it he was ecstatic though. It was his first
Yeah.
gun. He was, I love it, man. I was like, I'll never do that again. Other than that, I can't even say there is a bad one, man. There's nothing that I've ever shot that I'm like, oh, I hate this. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, damn, my mom's got like a little James Bond 380. That's rough. It's hard to shoot. I don't like shooting it, but it's still a dope pistol. Like I'll
Yeah.
still shoot it when we go. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I can't. I don't even have one for that, man.
Okay, no problem. Would you consider yourself a fanboy to any gun manufacturer?
Nah, not at all. I'm definitely going to give the respects, like in learning how to build these guns and how to maintenance them and what it takes.
Mm-hmm.
Like Staccato has a lot of I have so much respect for what they do. But no, there's no allegiance. Like I say in the video, like everybody makes a gun that's bad or a bad part or something that fails.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they are responsible, as a consumer to make sure they take care of it. Or, for me, I always modify everything. So it's like if I break something, I just fix it.
Yeah. You swapped out the my bad. I mean to cut you off. You
Oh no, no worries.
You swapped out the trigger in your Staccato, correct?
No, it's factory.
Oh, it's factory? All right.
I stick with factory triggers now.
Yeah.
Not because like I'm in law enforcement. There's always been this like myth about like having modified triggers and defense attorneys
Yeah.
not that if you know what you're talking about, you can run circles around an attorney. But I leave it that way. I like it. It's a decent trigger. It's a decent trigger.
Okay. To be an armor, what do you think it really like? Is there a lot of work that you got to put in?
I think it depends on how serious you want to be. Like you can just show up and kind of get the tools that sometimes they provide, and you can kind of buy your basics. But I probably even just in the AR platform alone and a 5.56 223 platform, I probably have about like $6,000 worth of tools.
Okay.
So and that's geeking. That's like on the far end. You know what I mean? So. It just depends. You can kind of go on both sides. If you just want to go to learn and get the knowledge, and sometimes like they'll provide you with some tools, or you can buy the basics for what you need for that platform, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
And then depending on how far you want to go, you know what I'm saying, you can also go to the other end of the spectrum.
So like being an armor and like taking apart like a staccato, like a gun that has like really tight tolerances and everything, was it intimidating at all taking it apart, or was you just like, nah, I got this, you know, I'm good?
It was incredibly intimidating. Not for, at the time I got my Sakala, I was very comfortable, but when I first started 1911s, that's part of the reason why I didn't want to mess with them at first, because I was like, man, there's way too many parts. I'm gonna forget something. I was
Yeah.
always putting it on the wrong way, or I would put it on and my hammer would fall, and I'm like, what? And then my hammer wouldn't work, and I had to take it apart and put it back together. But that was really, you know, kind of getting your feet wet, if I should say, is kind of how you learn how it works and what it's supposed to do.
Yeah. Yeah. In California, is there, would you say, more indoor ranges or outdoor ranges?
Definitely more indoor, and it's hard at that too. So we have a like, I want to say, man, probably within like 30 to within probably 40 miles of where I live. There's maybe like three or four, maybe about like four indoor ranges and two outdoor ranges, or
Okay.
three. There's three outdoor ranges, not a lot.
What do you prefer, indoor or outdoor?
Outdoor all day.
Okay. You prefer steel or paper targets?
I like both, man. Paper doesn't lie. You know what I mean? If you're messing up on that paper, it's gonna show you for sure. You can always hit steel and get the satisfaction from the ding, but
Yeah,
paper is how you get better.
absolutely. In your opinion, what's the best handgun caliber?
Nine. I say nine, man. I argue with everybody all the time. 9 millimeter, man. 9 millimeter. It doesn't have too much recoil. You got the capacity, and just like look, if you train, man, you can shoot good, man. You're gonna be. It's gonna do its job.
Yeah. You ever you shot a 5.7, the 5.7 round? You ever shot one of those?
I did. I did. I shot one. Probably the first one I shot was maybe back in like 2011, and I like it, man. That's a cool gun.
Yeah.
It's a really cool gun. They're hard to come by sometimes from distributors when I have my shot, but whenever I had one, it was sold instantly.
Yeah.
I've heard like the ballistics on it aren't that great. I've never did any ballistics tests on it myself personally, but a lot of people who I have and have seen it, they've always said it doesn't perform as well ballistically, but
Okay.
it's really fun to shoot.
Yeah, I actually have the Ruger 5.7, and I took it out not too long ago, and I'm like, man, this thing recoiled like a 22. It's like smooth and everything. So
That's right. I saw your video. How do you like it? What do you think about it?
I like it. I think it's a solid gun. It's just it don't really fit a purpose in my life. You know, I'm like I really got it just to review it, and I'm like I probably, you know, when I thought about it afterwards, I was like I probably could have just rented one or found somebody with one instead of having to buy one. But I mean, it's a solid gun. But like ammo prices, and I'm like I probably won't shoot it that much, you know, because a box of what 50 rounds will run you 55
Yeah.
bucks. So
Right.
you know, that ain't something I'm gonna train with all the time because it's too expensive to train. So
Right.
it'll be a safe queen unless I get rid of it, which I'll probably end up getting rid of it.
Yeah, it'd be a cool gun. I mean, I like that it's all that Ruger did. They went all alloy with it. That was dope.
Yeah.
Because the FN's all plastic, so it kind of feels like airsofty or something to
Yeah.
me. You know what I'm saying? But like
Yeah.
the Ruger made it like a legit gun, a legit caliber to me. And but if I got a 5.7 today, it'd be the Ruger for sure.
Okay. In your opinion, what's the best rifle caliber and why?
You know, for how much energy and research I put into the 5.56, I love it, man. I'm a little jealous. Like I want like a little shorty 308. Like if I can get, I like Q a lot. So if I can get like a sugar weasel or something like that, or a honey badger, that'd be super dope. I'd definitely run that for sure. But just with my limitations here in California, 5.56 is dope, man. You could do a lot with it.
Okay. So even as a police officer, there's restrictions to the firearms you can get?
Yes, yeah, there are.
Okay. AR-15 or AK-47 platform. I kind of got where you gonna go with it, but I'm asking anyway.
Hey man, everyone's in the military. Look, I got the stars and stripes right there.
Okay.
I know my buddies at AK fans call him a communist. That's gonna be AR all day, brother.
Okay, okay. Dry firing, in your opinion, good thing or bad thing?
100% good, and everybody should be doing it. Dry firing is it's helped me so much in my shooting, physically, psychologically. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? Preparing for, because I always tell everyone, when you fire a gun, it's an explosion that's going off in front of your face. Like your brain, your body, you got to get used to that.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? The dry fire is kind of helping you, and it's kind of building, I'll say muscle memory, to
Mm-hmm.
kind of keep it easy, but it's going to build that muscle memory for you. And you really get to see what you're doing and what input you have as well. So the corrections you need to make, dry fire is a big deal.
Yeah.
Whenever I have people on the range that I train, um, I always start off with dry fire, because
Okay.
it's hard as an instructor. It's hard to look and see what someone's doing wrong, because they're
Mm-hmm.
doing multiple things at one time. I can't call one thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's impossible. Only thing I can do is like, look, this is what you're supposed to do,
Okay.
and everything's all. I always start everyone off dry fire, and get used to it. Get used to the trigger. When's the trigger fall? What's your trigger doing? What's the hammer? Whatever you're shooting, what's it doing?
Mm-hmm.
And that, I feel like that helps people out tremendously.
Yeah. Absolutely. I heard that people. Well, this is a method that I was going to try too, but they put like dummy rounds in, mix dummy rounds in with like live ammo. So when you go to shoot it, you know, what I mean, you get used to the you know, the jerk. You know, you don't really jerk when you know, shoot. You ever tried that?
Oh yeah, I do it all the time.
Okay.
I think I was doing it in the video too. So when you see me kind of racking it, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
running through, like, all right, you have a malfunction, you tap rack, and then you remove the mag rack, put the mag back in, rack it, and keep going. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yep.
I shoot with dummy rounds quite a bit.
Yeah.
Keeps you honest.
Yes, sir. What's your thoughts on having a carry rotation?
Uh, y- you know what? I had one, and I didn't feel comfortable with it,
Mm-hmm.
because there's always something, depending on how much you have. Like, there's always something that's lacking, because you're just kind of rolling through it. You know what I mean? And after a while, I felt like everyone wanted to see, like, what do you got? What do you got? What do you got? And I'm like, oh shit,
Yeah.
I got this, but I haven't shot it in like 4 or 5 months,
Mm-hmm.
6, 7 months. And so that's why, that was like one of the reasons why I kind of dumbed down my collection as well, because I'm like, nah, I just want a thumper that I run thousands of rounds through.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter what, because I've been in shootings at work. I've been in 3 shootings, and when shit hits the fan, like, a cool gun doesn't mean anything. It's
Yeah.
100% of a tool, and it's 100% of like, how do I protect myself or somebody else?
Mm-hmm.
And now I just want to be efficient with it, and so that's what becomes most important.
Yeah. Okay. What's your thoughts on open carry?
Um, I don't know, man. You know, like, we've always had some weird stuff here in California. You get people that do it, and those people always want to argue with you. We're like, hey, man, you're at a baseball game, a little league baseball game. The parents saw you had a gun. Like, well, I can open carry. So there's always tension from my perspective behind it. But I don't really care, man. I mean, like, when I go to Arizona, you go to Texas, like, people that can carry, they carry. That you know, I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. It's kind of weird. I don't even think you should even have to be in that position. Like, you should just be able to carry, like, just carry, and just go about your day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. 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 Um, any firearm that you would 100% recommend?
Um, I always tell people that depends. You know, and owning a sword depends on how much they're willing to spend. Um, you know what, and I guess what they're looking for. You know, I've kind of gotten apt to, like, really, when people come and ask, like, John, what should I get? What should I get? You know, I'm like, I don't know. How much money you want to spend? What are you using it for? Like, I just want to have a gun at the house. Go buy a Glock.
Yeah.
I usually lend myself to Glock a lot. Glocks are dope, and they're simple, man. And I got my Glock shirt on today, by the
I
way.
see. I see. Shout out
I
Glock.
got
uh,
so.
when you go to determine a gun to carry, Is there, what process do you go through to say, hey, this gun, I feel comfortable with carrying this?
Mm, mm. That's a good question because you a lot of times this is something that I like when the 19X came out, I was like, I gotta have it. And
Hmm.
then at that point, I just kind of always put my little finishing touch on it. But I'm never comfortable with it until I have some decent amount of time on the range. So it doesn't matter what it is.
Hmm.
I got to get rounds down range, get my dry fire time in before I even start to feel comfortable with it. So it's a weird period when I get a new gun. I feel
Hmm.
very uncomfortable
Yeah.
actually.
Is there like a specific number as far as round count, or it's just total comfortability?
Yeah, I would say just being comfortable. Like with the Staccato, that was easy. That was probably one of the easiest guns to shoot. It's very accurate. So that time frame with the Staccato was quick, man. It
Hmm.
was just like, all right. The biggest thing, like we talked about, the biggest hurdle I had to get over was with the frame safety.
Yeah.
And so outside of that, man, it was like, all right, I'm not concerned about shooting it. I just got to get used to the mechanics of drawing and getting that safety off.
Yeah. Okay. Last couple questions, and I'll let you go. Um, any YouTube channels that you watch frequently? They don't have to be gun channels. They can be any kind of channels.
I mean, I've been trying to learn more about camera stuff, so I watch a lot of camera stuff, man.
Okay.
But I'm always just flicking through it. You know what I mean? I remember YouTube back in the day when I was a youngster, where like the video quality was horrible.
Yeah.
It like weird videos, where this guy's like, "Oh, look at this." Audio was horrible.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So like the quality that we're getting from all of us now, especially in the gun community, I really appreciate it. So
Hmm.
I just try to show everyone and everybody love, man. I try to be real positive, and everyone has something to say, and you can learn something from everybody.
Okay. What advice would you give someone buying their first firearm?
Train, buy one and train, man. Just train, dry fire, and start clinging on to somebody that knows what they're talking about, and don't let go. And from there, like I said, I do believe it's our duty. Like as we get into the stuff where we learn more, we understand more. When we get the new owners that come in, it's very important that we get behind them and help support them.
Hmm. Absolutely. Last question. Do you have what I guess we consider a unicorn gun? Is there a unicorn gun out there that you like, hey, I need to get this gun. I want to get this gun. I need that.
Um, you know what? I want a Wilson Combat, the tactical super grade.
Hmm.
I would have bought one already, man. But my wife would be pissed if I buy one. Oh, man, it'd kill me because it's like $5 or $6 grand. I
Yeah.
wanted one of those for a long time, and I want to start getting into PRS stuff. So I want to get like a super dope bolt gun, and those are going to be super expensive too. So that's like a whole another mountain to climb.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, it's just that tactical super grade. That's probably one of the guns where it's like, all right, if I'm gonna go spend $5, $6, $7,000 on a gun, that's the gun I'm gonna buy.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, man. So I had a ball, man. I appreciate it. You coming on. Tons of info. If you're not subscribed to this channel, go subscribe to this man's channel. Let us know where we can find you at. Shout out all your socials and everything.
My Instagram is jrussell_22. And usually, like I've been filming a lot of like one of my buddies has a son that plays high school football, so I've been like taking pictures and filming high school football stuff. But it's a little more, I don't know if I say family oriented, but more of my personal life, I guess,
Yeah.
if I should say. But yeah, it's MINES220 on YouTube. So I got to start making some more videos. I had knee surgery, and I've been I haven't been able to get out to the range, but as soon as I can, I got to get something. Someone hit me up on doing a video on that Prodigy, so I got to
Mhm.
definitely break that down and do a technical video. I haven't seen one yet. I haven't
Yeah,
seen a
that'd be
technical
dope.
video
I'm
yet.
telling you, the way you break them down, ain't nobody doing that. Ain't
Right,
nobody
right,
doing that.
right. So I got to get that up and running here. So, you know, it's just trying to come out with some content. I don't want to be too redundant and just try to like push a bunch of stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's kind of counterintuitive to content creation, but it has to have a lot of substance. You know, I don't know, just in my opinion,
Yeah.
if I put it out, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, it takes a lot. It's a lot to really go through, but, you know.
Definitely.
We'll see.
Yeah, so anything you want to say before we get up out of here?
Nah, hey, man, I appreciate you, bro. Thanks for
Anytime.
reaching out, man. You know what I mean? If you ever want to chop it up, we talk guns. I talk guns all day, man.
For
I
sure,
appreciate it.
for sure.
Thank you.
Like, no, thank you. Like I said, appreciate you coming on. Friends with Guns, my man's MINES220. Make sure you check him out. Follow him on IG. Subscribe to his YouTube. Watch that staccato video. Watch all of his videos, but watch that staccato video for sure. Blow your mind, man, the way he just broke it apart. Like, super dope,
Thank
though.
you.
Appreciate you coming out, though, bro. Have a good one.
I appreciate you too, brother.
All right.